All right, YouTube, welcome to the Queen of Shadows reading vlog. So, yesterday I finished Heir of Fire. I am diving right into the next book. I actually started it last night, even though I told myself I would give myself a day or two break just for my sanity and emotional stability. And then last night I was just like, fuck, I don't care. I just want to start the next book. So, I think I'm already 60-ish. I'm 62 pages in. I'm about to start chapter 8 when I finish filming this. So, 62 pages in, I do already have a couple of thoughts. So, we are just going to dive right into those. I will give the reminder, as always with these videos, these are full spoiler reading vlogs. So, if you have not read the Throne of Glass series, if you do not want these books to be spoiled for you, this probably is not the video series for you to be watching on my channel, but I do have plenty of other bookish content that does not contain spoilers, so feel free to check out my channel for some of that. And with that, we are getting right into my first thoughts on Queen of Shadows. So, like I said, I'm 62 pages in. Right away, right off the bat, I'm like, fuck Arobin. Arobin sucks. He sucks so bad. I hate that Selena is going to choose to work with him. I feel like there's no way that it's going to go well. I feel like he's absolutely going to betray her again. And I just genuinely do not see this working out for her. I will say I am really curious to know why Kale was meeting with him. I will also say Kale is really starting to piss me off. I feel like when him and Selena met down in the sewer, when they've seen each other for the first time in quite a long time, it was just he's blaming her for everything. He's essentially trying to say that everything is her fault. He's not really taking accountability for anything, for his part in any of it, and it's just really, really frustrating because I feel like Aelin really is doing her best, and I feel like Kale just, I understand they're both in really precarious positions and that it's really hard to navigate the situations that they're in, but at the same time, him blaming her is really starting to piss me off because I feel like they are all just doing the best that they can in this really, really shitty situation. Also, Aedion being in his cell, oh my god, I was almost crying. I love Aedion. I really, really hope that there will be some sort of plot twist where he ends up being okay. But he is wounded, he's in the cell, and he's basically I just hope I die. He's like, I just hope I die so that Aelin doesn't come try to rescue me, so that I'm not used against her, and I'll die with some dignity instead of being executed at Dorian's birthday. And then Dorian is fighting in his head against one of the Valg princes or demons, and that is also just really sad. I don't know. I think this is going to be a really, really intense read, and I mean, I guess I'm ready for it. I guess I'm ready for it. But I am excited to continue reading. I am really, really hoping that I will be able to kind of devour and just eat up this book because I do still have the goal of really wanting to finish this series before the end of the month. It is currently August 12th as I'm filming this, so that definitely could be possible. I mean, I have Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash. So I have 4 more books, and 4 books to read in, I mean, there's at least 2 more weeks left of the month, if not 3. Seems doable, but these books are all fucking hefty books. So we'll see. But that is still my goal. I'm really hoping to finish all of Throne of Glass by the end of August so that in September I can move right on to Crescent City and go from there. So that is going to be the first update. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next update. I am back with another Queen of Shadows update. Now, I have like 4 pages of notes. I am pretty much exactly at the halfway mark, but I've got to rapid fire through this update because I am running out of storage on my phone, and I just filled up the flash drive that I currently have to clear out my phone and back up all my content. So I'm giving myself a 5-minute time limit. Whatever I can discuss in this 5 minutes is gonna be what gets talked about for this next portion of the video. So I'm halfway through. A bunch of shit has been revealed. We've discovered what Aelin is calling the Word Hounds, who are like the real life version of the creatures from the clock tower. I knew those were going to be relevant somehow, had honestly kind of forgotten about them at this point in the story. Really, really interested to see how that plays out. It has been revealed that Lysandra is a shifter, which is like so exciting to me. I've been really interested in Lysandra and her story from the beginning, and I am just like so excited to see where that goes. Her backstory with Evangeline was like absolutely devastating. That was like so fucked up. I feel like this story, I mean, obviously, since from the very beginning, when Selena was a slave, like, it has some really dark undertones, but the whole shit with Evangeline and the courtesans, that was, like, so dark. The point where we're at in the story now, so much has happened. They've rescued Aedion, which I am stoked. I really, really hope that they're going to allow his character to have a good arc and that, like, he's not just going to die. Rowan is there, and there's, like, the kind of male bravado, like, pissing contest between Aedion and Rowan, which I'm like so giggling and kicking my feet. Also, Aelin is so obviously in love with Rowan, and I'm pretty sure Rowan is in love with her by this point. And it's, I mean, that literally got me giggling and kicking my feet. Like when Aelin comes in her nightgown, because Rowan's all like, sharing a bed is not proper for a lady, for a queen. Like, that literally had me giggling, kicking my feet. I was losing it. So good. I am wondering if they are going to be mates. Her going to Sam's grave, and then her speculating, wondering if Sam had been her mate. I'm gonna fucking end it all right here. I'm gonna lose it right now. But it also does open up this question of, like, can Fae have multiple mates? If your mate dies, can you have another mate? Or could you be a polyamorous Fae? Could you have multiple mates? I don't know, but I am curious to see what is going to happen. If Rowan and Aelin are going to be a love that's like they just choose each other organically and they're not mates, or if the mate bond is maybe going to come into play at some point within these books. I will say, now Lorcan is here. He seems like he sucks. Gavriel is Aedion's dad, which is also crazy. Just so much of this, it feels like the books have just, like, picked up. Like, we're in the meat and potatoes of the story now. Like, the bones were fleshed out and we're in it. Elodie and the witches, I wanted to talk about that as well. Elodie has witch blood. I don't know how she's going to factor into the story, but I really like her. I feel like she's been through so much shit and she's like so strong. Caltaine and her magic is fucking crazy. How she's like a husk, but then she has like the shadow fire that she's just like wielding. I still love Abraxos. I love Manon. I'm really interested to see what happens with Manon and the 13 and the witches, because it seems like her grandmother is going along with all the shit that the Valg and the King are doing, and Manon and the 13 are seeing it firsthand and they can see how wrong it is. So all of that has been really, really interesting. I can see that I'm running out of time, and I feel like I have so much more that I want to discuss. Maybe I'll give myself 7 minutes. I think I'm going to pause, look at my notes, and then give myself like 2 more minutes for this update. All right, rapid fire. I'm thinking about the King of Adarlan. I'm thinking about how he has never been named. They've never said his name throughout the book. Is he Valg? Is he possessed by a Valg? Has he been that way from the beginning? What is going on with that? Aelin and Lysandra. I wanted to talk about also how their changing relationship not only shows both of their character growth, and I think it shows that Aelin is maturing and growing in a really positive way, that now they've like formed this kind of friendship. I think it's really great seeing Aelin get to have female friends who hopefully don't betray her like Ansel did. And then speaking of fucking Ansel, when they are helping Aedion escape, when Aelin is getting Aedion from the castle, and she sees Dorian in the garden, and Dorian comes for them, and she's about to friggin' slice her sword, she's about to behead him. And then Nezrin comes, stops her. Her and Kale are arguing about it later. And Aelin says, I gave him 1 minute, which is like a direct callback to how she gave Ansel 1 minute and it saved her life. And then we see from Dorian's like super short chapters, his like limited POV, we're seeing that he wishes that she had killed him. So that was just crazy. The callback though to that, like, I gave him 1 minute, was so fucking wild, and I thought that was so well done. I cannot wait to keep reading. I could sit here and talk about all of this whole book. I could sit here and talk for literally hours, but I think I'm gonna have to save my thoughts and make a final update once my next vlog is live, just because I now need to get a new flash drive and like back up my content, clear out my phone, all of this stuff. But just know that I am so deep in this. I am loving this. Heir of Fire was the first like god tier book in the series for me, and this really does seem to be following it up. It's on that same level. It's been so entertaining. So much has happened, and this is like a fucking hefty book. This is like a 650-page book. So, and I've been flying through it, considering that I work my 2 jobs. I'm a busy girl, but yeah, I have been flying through this book, really, really enjoying it. Like 330 pages in, and honestly, as soon as I turn the camera off, I am going to either sit down and paint some more fan art or dive right back into the book. So that's going to be everything for this update. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that I will see you still here in this vlog for my next update. So I have just finished chapter 79 of Queen of Shadows. I'm crying so much. I just wanted to give a little update. I am going to sit down later and give like a proper update, but oh my god, so much has happened. I'm really concerned that there's still so much more of this book. I mean, there's 3 more fucking books in the series, and the King of Adarlan was just defeated. Also, I was right about the times that I had mentioned, like, is the King of Adarlan not really the king? Like, he was possessed by the Valg the entire time. Dorian is now free. I am like, oh my god, I've cried so much. This book has been so good. I really see why this series is so many people's like god tier fantasy series. It's definitely become one of mine, especially this book. So I'm gonna sit back down, I'm gonna finish the book, and then I'm gonna sit down and do a proper debrief with all my thoughts, because I have probably like 5 or 6 pages of notes that I haven't given updates on yet. Hey YouTube! I just finished Queen of Shadows. Oh my god, I have so much to say. We're gonna dive right in. So, I had written down in my notes, sort of towards the beginning of this book, is the King of Adarlan possessed by the Valg already, and is that why he's so evil? We get to the end of the book, we learn that this is the case. He has a moment where they're out, like, on the little bridge that connects the two towers, where he escapes the Valg's control. He looks at Dorian and he's like, my son. And Aelin can tell that he is once again human. The whole final battle is so crazy because so much goes wrong and then so much goes right that it was just page after page of, like, action that was so compelling and so fascinating to read and be caught up in. It really feels like you're right there fighting with them. So Rowan and Aedion go down into the sewers to place the Hellfire to try to blow up the clock tower. Aelin and Chaol go into the castle to face Dorian and the king. And then our other players are on the sidelines waiting to jump in as needed. We get Lysandra in her shifter form. She shifts into a leopard. We have Nezrin with her arrows. It's, oh my god. We have Lorcan, the whole thing. There's just so much to talk about. I will say it pissed me the fuck off when the Word Hounds were down there. Lorcan didn't actually kill them, and then once he realized who Aedion was, he went back to go help them. I was pissed that Lorcan lied, but I was also really glad that he did go back to help. Then we've got the magic, like, Aelin and Dorian using their magic together was so fucking crazy. Dorian escaping from, like, the Valg's grasp was insane. Also, at the very end, when, like, Manon is checking on him, I just thought that was, like, so cute. I really love Manon. I think her and Dorian would be really cute together. Oh my lord, so much. I feel like I'm going to be jumping around a lot. This is going to be kind of a chaotic update because I just finished the book and I hadn't given a ton of updates along the way because I've been out of phone storage and I've been waiting on a flash drive so that I can, like, back up all my content, clear out my phone to be able to film more. So, I don't think I've given an update since it was at least the halfway mark of the book. So, like, so fucking much has happened. When there's the meeting in the woods with the king and the witches and the matron, all of that, how there's, like, the towers that amplify the magic, that I feel like is going to be crazy, like the towers of the mirrors. When Manon and Aelin are fighting and Aelin decides to save Manon. Also, about earlier on in the book, I had figured out as soon as Manon calls Aelin witch killer, as soon as she finds out that Aelin was the one who killed Baba Yellowlegs, I was like, oh, that's what witch killer the human is still inside him is going to mean. It's going to be Manon warning Aelin that Dorian is still in there. That's also another thing I want to talk about in this update. So, again, jumping all around. Do I have ADHD? Who knows? But the ACOTAR 6 and 7 covers were announced yesterday. They were announced yesterday. I am super excited about that. I'm really, really stoked for ACOTAR 6 and 7. ACOTAR 6 is actually why I chose to read Throne of Glass at the time that I did, because I wanted to read Throne of Glass and Crescent City in preparation for those next ACOTAR books. So the covers have been released. We have the titles. Book 6 is A Court of Splintered Harmony, I believe. And book 7 is A Court of Forgotten Melody. Court of Forgotten Melody is what book 7 is. So those came out yesterday. Those were released yesterday. I'm very, very glad that I've been reading this when I have. My plan still is I have 3 books left now. I have to decide if I'm going to do the tandem read for Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. I have to decide that. And then I have 3 books left of Throne of Glass. And then my goal is to read Crescent City, finish all 3 Crescent City books before ACOTAR 6. So, with ACOTAR 6 and 7 being announced, the internet has been like awash with buzz and theories and discussions. And in reading people's theories, I've had more stuff from Throne of Glass spoiled for me. Now, as somebody who has gotten to a couple of the parts that I had spoiled for me before, I am in 2 minds about it. On the one hand, of course, I wish I didn't know any of the spoilers. I think generally, once you know the gist of a book and like barring any like triggers that you need to know, I think it's really nice to go into books kind of blind and just be swept away in it and not know any spoilers. But with this series, I feel like the twists and turns and all of the different plots and character development have been, there's so much of it that I almost feel like the spoilers, I'm trying not to get bogged down in the spoilers is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying not to let them affect my reading experience and affect my like judgment of the books. But that being said, I have encountered several spoilers in the past couple of days alone. One of them, which I do not know which book this is revealed in, so if you have not read the later Throne of Glass books, if you have not read Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, Kingdom of Ash, you may want to skip the next couple minutes. But I do know the spoiler that Maeve is the Valg Queen. I saw that when I clicked on somebody's theories. Which they did not have a spoiler tag, which I was not like super stoked on because I still feel like you should tag that shit even though this series is a little older. Then there was a spoiler that was my fault. Somebody was talking about their unpopular ACOTAR opinions and theories, and it did say possible Throne of Glass spoilers. There was a spoiler tag, and I was just like being dumb, and I clicked on it anyway. And it was somebody saying that they hate Aedion more than they hate Tamlin, which such a shock to me because currently, especially where we're at, having finished Queen of Shadows with 3 books left in the series, I love Aedion. I really, really like Aedion. I think he's a great character. I think he's a great warrior, a great man. So I'm really interested to see what that means because this person said I hate Aedion more than I hate Tamlin. And seeing that makes me think like, okay, I'm assuming that means that Aedion is going to take away Aelin's power or agency in some way. Because that is the reason most of us dislike Tamlin. Tamlin takes away Feyre's power, and he takes away her agency, her choices, locking her in the manor, etc. But I'm wondering if Aedion is going to make a choice, trying to protect Aelin, whatever it may be, taking away her agency and causing her to lose someone that she loves. I am wondering if that is going to be the case with Aedion. There was one other spoiler that I had seen, and I'm going to have to look back through my notes to remember exactly what it was. Just because I feel like having read the end of this, there's so much on my mind now. I mean, there were so many points at the end of this book where I was crying. Immediately, I think of Asterin telling her story to Manon about losing her witchling and about the matron of the Blackbeak Coven, like branding her and treating her so terribly in the loss of her witchling. That also makes me think as well about Morath and the like fucked up creature witchlings that they had birthed there. Makes me think about Caltaine, like how Caltaine at the end reveals that one of the word keys has been embedded in her arm, and like as she kind of wasted away, she was still strong enough mentally to like fight off the Valg King and retain a shred of her power, and at the end she used it to help bring down part of Morath. She helped to free Elodie, and Manon and the 13 and Elodie, they get Elodie out of Morath. And by the end of the book, Elodie is on her way back to Terrasen. And I believe Elodie has that piece of the word key with her. So there's that. Oh, maybe I don't think that was a spoiler, but one of the Akatar theories that I saw was somebody thinking that Caltaine was the Suriel, and then somebody else was like, "That's not possible because the Suriel is an entire like race of creatures." But then I saw somebody else say that Caltaine was Bryaxis, and then I was thinking, "Is Caltaine the Weaver?" So I don't know, but I don't know if any of that's relevant. I'm still stuck on like the Valg and Bryaxis, like something is happening here. Because I feel like Bryaxis's power is too similar to the Valg power for that to like not be related. Oh my god. I cried so much finishing this book. There were so many things. Lysandra coming to help them, I cried the entire time. I think that her and Aelin and their friendship and their character growth is like so beautiful. It does a really great job of showing the women that they've become and also showing the type of ruler that Aelin is going to be. I think that was a really beautiful part of this book. Kale being paralyzed is like very sad. I don't know if he will be healed. I don't really know what's going to happen with that. Dorian is obviously still very haunted at the end of the book. And then we're getting to the end of the book. Aelin and her court are traveling to Terrasen. And the last line, I think, let's see if I can quote it straight without opening it. At long last, Aelin Ashriver Galathinius was home. Was I right? I gotta open the book upside down. Jesus Christ. Let me see. I was right. And at long last, Aelin Ashriver Galathinius was home. That, like, oh my god, so beautiful. Oh my lord, I have so much to say. Oh, that was the other spoiler I saw. That, Lorcan and Elodie end up together. Lorcan and Elodie end up together. And the So Lorcan did is related to possibly their first time being intimate together. That was the other spoiler that I saw. I really like Elodie. I feel really bad for her. She has been through so much. She has been through fucking hell. And then how at the end of the book, when Manon saves her, she is like, I could go south. I could do what I've always wanted to do and like build a new life and disappear. But then now she has hope. Manon has hope too, which is like part of her character development. Really beautiful. But Elodie is like, I'm going to go north to Terrasen and like do what I can do there, which I thought was really beautiful and amazing. I feel like there are so many layers in these books, and it's funny because even with annotating, I feel like you never know when something is going to become relevant again. You don't know when the pieces are going to fall into place. You don't know when the puzzle pieces are going to fit together. And you don't necessarily know when a thread of information is going to be woven back into like the tapestry of the overall story. So there's a ton of stuff that I've marked down, but I think that's part of what makes the journey through these books so interesting is like there's so much detail and there's characters and lore and plot and character development and different magic and like different objects and creatures and all this stuff, and like you don't know how you don't know what's going to be relevant to what, and you don't know what's going to be relevant at what time. And I think that has been such like a fun part of reading these books, is like you can mark something down and think like, oh, that'll be relevant later, but like you never know when. You never know when. But I think that's part of the fun part of going through this series. Also, yeah, okay, we haven't talked about Arobin's death at all yet, because truly some of the stuff that happens later in the book feels so much more serious than that. But Arobin fucking sucked, and the part where you think that he has put one of the rings on Aelin, like, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I am gonna lose it. I was losing my fucking shit. Um, I was losing it, pretty much. But yeah, he dies. Lysandra kills him. I thought that was great. Good for her. Like, she should get hers. She has been through hell. Her and little Evangeline. I'm gonna cry. And then later on in the book, well, Arobin dies. You find out that Selena had tampered with the will, so she was given everything in the will except for what Clarice was owed. And then later, when she buys Lysandra and Evangeline's freedom, I cried all through that. Like, oh my god. This book does a really great job of showing how interwoven things can be, and how these acts of kindness go such a long way, and all of these small acts of kindness end up paying off in some way. And of course, that's not the point of being kind, but I think it is really interesting because it shows Aelin's path to becoming a great ruler and a great leader. And I think seeing that has been really, really awesome. There are so many themes throughout this whole series, you know, obviously the theme of ash, of destruction, of ruin, slavery, bondage, people losing their homes, their families, but then also the themes of light and loyalty and love, and those things being more powerful. I just think is one of the most beautiful things about this series, and it is truly so amazing. I will say this update is bordering on 20 minutes. I definitely have a ton more to say, but I finished this book on my break from work, so I am likely going to have to wrap this update up, and then hopefully we'll have time later in the day to give another, because I really do. I've said this about all of the books past like book 2, but I really do feel like I could sit here and talk about this for hours, because these books really are so layered and beautiful, and like throughout the series there's so much that's interwoven and interconnected that could be explored at length, and I really do want to, but I need this to be shorter than the Air of Fire vlog, and also I need to go back to work. Okay, yeah, so I literally need to go back to work like right now. So this is going to be the end of this update, but this will not be the end of the video. Most likely there will be one final update that I will give, hopefully later tonight. We'll see when I have the time to do it, but oh my god, I have so much to say. I wish that I had more time, because if I did, I would literally sit here for the next like hour just like talking your ear off with all my thoughts. But temporary pause. You will see me again in like 2 seconds. Bye. Hey YouTube, this is my final update for the Queen of Shadows reading vlog. So I sat down pretty much immediately after finishing the book the other day and just kind of gave my off the cuff, off the top of my head thoughts. I'm going to go back through this time and look at my notes because I know there's a lot that I didn't mention before that I would like to talk about. One of the main things that does just come to the forefront of my mind is Aelin and Rowan and their relationship. I am still really curious to see if they're going to be mates. And there was actually a quote, I believe it's on page 526, if I'm remembering correctly, where Rowan says something that, like, has me wondering if they are mates. This whole time I've been really curious as to whether Aelin and Rowan are mates or if they're just like an organic relationship. Um where they just kind of choose each other and that's it. So, two things on this page. So up at the top, Aelin says, tell me that even if I lead us all to ruin, we'll burn in hell together. We're not going to hell, Aelin, he said, but wherever we go, we'll go together. That's a direct callback to a conversation that Selena has with Sam in The Assassin's Blade. I think my camera's shaking a little because one of my cats just ran into my tripod. But that's a direct callback to a conversation that Selena has with Sam, where they've kind of admitted their feelings for each other, and it's like right before Sam gets killed. And it's pretty much the same thing, like, no matter where we go, like, I'll go to hell if that means I get to be with you. Just, my heart is broken. That also reminds me of how in this book we see that Aelin allows Rowan to use her lavender soap that she never allowed Sam to use, which is like so sad, but also like really beautiful. But the quote I opened this for and really wanted to talk about was, her mouth was soft and warm, and he bit back a groan. His body went still. His entire world went still. At that whisper of a kiss, the answer to a question he'd asked for centuries. Mates? Are they mates? Am I insane? I don't know, but I think they're going to be mates. I have a feeling that that's going to be what that is. This is so random, but like all of the dust jackets of these books feel like slightly sticky. I had to take it off because my fingers feel a little sticky now, and I can't figure out what it is because the books were in like they're in the box set and they were sealed until I started reading them, and like nothing would have spilled on them. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell that is. But I'm going to take a quick look at my notes. We're going to figure out the last couple of things that I wanted to talk about. I know one of the things I wanted to discuss more in detail is Elodie. I really like Elodie. I feel like her story is kind of breaking my heart. It is really, really sad that, she has had her body and parts of her mind just broken by everything that happened in the wake of Terrasen being conquered. Like how one of her feet is like mangled and broken, and how throughout the entirety of Queen of Shadows, she's basically like, I just want to escape and like go to the south, go to the southern continent, and like be able to build a new life for myself. Like that's all she really wants, is to be able to escape and live like a peaceful life. And then how she discovers her Blackbeak heritage, and she kind of starts working with the witches, and then her being captured and put in the dungeon by Vernon, and then Manon coming to save her. That whole sequence with Manon and Caltaine, like Elodie realizing that she hasn't been abandoned and that the witches do come to help her, and then Caltaine basically just being like, yep, I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna just take them all out with me. I thought that was really amazing. I am really interested. I think I talked about this in my previous update, but I'm really interested to see if we see more of Kaltane. Like, I understand that, she takes out a third of Morath. Everything is burning with the shadow fire. But there is part of me that feels like she could have become something else. I don't know if that's just still me thinking about, like, Bryaxis and his siblings, like Bryaxis, the Bone Carver, the Weaver, connecting that back into the Throne of Glass world. I'm not sure if that's just me, like, making these connections that may or may not exist, but I am really interested to see what comes of that. Also, the fact that, like, the Word Stone was, like, my cats are beating the shit out of each other down there. But the fact that the Word Stone was, like, embedded in her arm, and the fact that they just, like, used Kaltane and let her, like, body fall apart is, like, so fucking sad. The way that she was, like, mistreated and was kind of manipulated by Parrington, who is Erewhon, which is crazy. Like, I don't know. It's really sad. I also think you can see, like, how her character develops and changes, and at the end she, uses the power she does have to end some of these women's suffering. She, unalives all of the people down in the dungeon. She kills the Yellow Legs coven, who has been forced to have the Valg babies. I thought all of that was really beautiful. I think I really like Elodie. Back to her. I really like Elodie, and I really hope that she. I mean, I think I said this in my previous update as well. I'm pretty sure she ends up with Lorcan. I really hope that she gets, like, a happy ending, because she is somebody who has gone through so much and has suffered so much. And at the end, her and Manon are talking about, like, having that hope. The witches escort her out of Morath, and she is going to Terrasen by herself, and how, like, it's that theme of having hope and having something to fight for that I think is really, really beautiful. I happened to open the book right to one of the quotes I was looking for that I was just talking about, so we'll talk about that again real quick. A tentative touch. Hope, Manon said quietly. And then later on the same page 625, south. She could still go south, run far, far away. Now that Vernon thought she was dead, no one would ever come looking for her. But Aelin was alive and strong, and maybe it was time to stop dreaming of running. Find Selena Sardothian. She would do that, to honor Kaltane and the gifts she'd been given, to honor the girls like them, locked in towers with no one to speak for them, no one who remembered them. But Manon had remembered her. No, she would not run. Like, I'm crying. It's so good. And then, yeah, Kaltane being like, this is for Selena, with the word stone, all of that is crazy. I'm really interested to see how that journey is going to play out in the next book. Also, I wanted to talk about Kale getting paralyzed, because I don't think I talked about that. Maybe I did, but not, like, in depth. I think the whole final battle is so crazy, because you're seeing all these different timelines, all these different characters kind of, not timelines, I guess storylines, converge together and to become this final battle where the king is vanquished, but then they learn that Erewhon is alive, he is freed. So one threat is gone, but it's just being replaced by another that is equally bad, if not worse. Dorian becomes king. Dorian is, like, so haunted, understandably, by all the shit he went through when he was possessed. And he's haunted by the shit that happened before that, because he was instantly possessed and was never allowed to process any of that. All of that is absolutely crazy. I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing his relationship with Manon. I did talk about this briefly in my other update, but how Manon came to check on him and how really it's her who is able to pull him out of being stuck inside the Valg and have him kind of come back to himself. I thought all of that was really beautiful and was really amazing. Kale being paralyzed is like heartbreaking, but it's also very like Kale finally learns what he's done wrong and he learns to overcome his flaws, and in doing so he plays a significant role in everything that's happening with that final battle, and in doing so he does lose his ability to walk. I think it'll be really interesting to see if he gets that ability back. I know that Tower of Dawn is like focused on Kale, and I know that Empire of Storms is like Aelin and Rowan. So I am really interested to see in the next books how all of that plays out. I feel like these updates are not going to be most coherent because I have so many different notes, but unless I want to rewatch all of my footage right now, I am not entirely positive what I have and haven't already talked about. So if I've mentioned something more than once, just know clearly it really emotionally impacted me. um, I did want to talk about the nightgown and the theme of the nightgowns with Aelin and Rowan. How she comes in wearing like the little lacy nightgown and he's like scandalized, but he's like so into it. And then later on with the gold nightgown, that shit is crazy. So fucking tea. And then also wanted to talk a little bit more. We got the "I'll bleed whatever color you want me to" quote. There were a couple quotes from this series that I know are like iconic, and it has been really, really fun going through and like seeing the context for a lot of those quotes. I will say that's the one like positive spoiler. I'm getting really irritated with my hair. That's the one like positive spoiler thing that I've had come out of this, is that it has been really cool to like know some of the iconic quotes and to see how they've come up. Oh my gosh, it's truly reading these books has been so fun. I will say I have a tattoo appointment booked for the end of next month, and it's like a all you can get flash appointment, so you can get as many flash pieces as you can fit in to your allotted appointment time. And there's this little Fireheart locket from this artist Flash that I think I'm going to get. And that's so crazy to be like, I'm getting a Fireheart tattoo. I'm just finished Queen of Shadows, haven't even read the last 3 books, but like truly I see why this series is god tier for so many people. I can definitely say that I see it becoming one of my god tier series as well. I haven't yet decided if this outranks ACOTAR for me. There are a couple of fantasy books and series that I have loved for my entire life that outrank ACOTAR, and I can't figure out if this is going to be one of them or not, just because I think my personal connection with Nesta and Feyre is like so strong. Like the way that I connect with their characters, not that we like are friends or like have a close personal relationship, but you know, the emotional connection I feel to them is so strong. But I also do really connect with Aelin. I feel like I've connected a lot with Manon in her like breaking generational curses and like going against the grain, kind of being the black sheep of the witches in a way. Like going forward, I feel like that's kind of what we're gonna see with her. Um, I really Lysandra, her story. I've really connected with her, and the growth that her and Aelin inspire in each other, I think has been so freaking beautiful. And then going back to the witches, like Astrin's story, like tore me apart. I'm really interested to see Elodie. I really hope that she gets a good character arc and she is allowed to have some peace and happiness, but also find her power and her strength and grow as a character. I still really like Aedion. I am still obsessed with Aedion. I feel like genuinely it's like y'all can have Rowan, y'all can have Dorian, y'all can have Kale. I just want Aedion. But you know, I love the court and the way the court is coming together. I love how Aelin is like telling Lysandra she wants her to be a member of her court. She wants her to be a lady. She's gonna like give her this land and make Evangeline her successor. I think that's so beautiful. Also, it is kind of crazy that the two of the fantasy series that I've read with like young female charges that people are, you know, younger siblings, people that are characters that the main characters are tasked with caring for and who they love. I think it's funny that in Shield of Sparrows, the little girl, her name is Evangeline, and then in this, her name is Evangeline as well. Just like random thought, but I really do love that. I love that. I think that was a really beautiful turning moment for their relationship, and I think that was just a really beautiful thing for Aelin to do as well. I feel like one of the things I haven't talked about enough either is Arobin. I am so excited that Arobin finally died. I think it was very fitting that Lysandra got to do it instead of Selena because Selena had such a complicated relationship with this man and he was like so manipulative and so evil towards her, but at the same time like she did still love him, and like she says at one point like he did still save my life when I was a kid, that it makes sense that Caltaine was the one to end him. I think the way everything plays out with the Assassin's Keep and all of that as well. I really liked the way that that worked out. I thought that was really cool. I think I did already talk about like Selena paying off Lysandra's debts, but that was really beautiful as well. I overall, I absolutely fucking loved this book. I loved this book so much. This is like a god tier read for me. Truly thought it was amazing. Infinity stars. Cannot say enough about this book. Like truly, if I didn't want to if I wasn't ready to move on to the next books and make that next vlog, I feel like I could sit here for hours trying to like dissect more, talk about more of the quotes, like do a more in-depth analysis, but truly this has been such a fantastic book. I love the way that everything came together. I've said this before in my other vlogs, but I'll say it again in this one. I think one of the amazing things about Sarah J. Maas's writing is the way she is able to make you feel like you're part of Aelin's court. You feel like you're part of that found family and like you're right there having all these adventures with them. I think it's also awesome that the cast of characters, like, they're all so different and they all have different strengths and weaknesses, and I think that means that in the found family you can find somebody that you relate to, you can find somebody that you have that kind of kinship and connection with, and you also get to see all of these other characters having these experiences and going through all of these different things and overcoming these challenges. And I truly do think that that is one of the strengths that is one of the strengths that this series has, is the ability to put you into these characters' shoes and really make you feel all these feelings. So I think this is going to be the end of the Queen of Shadows vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was entertaining. Little reminder that my previous vlogs for this whole series for reading Throne of Glass should already be up on this channel by the time this vlog goes live. And then the week after and the week after that will be the next couple vlogs for the final 3 books in the series. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely leave me a comment with your thoughts on Queen of Shadows, and hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more from me. I upload long form videos most Mondays, and I upload short form as frequently as I'm able to throughout the week. So thank you guys again, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!